going to be doing with this deck. I just did like a 10 to 15 minute deck here to kind of walk through the app we're going to build, the API to use, and how to get to it, and then just some high-level Angular concepts that you're going to need to build it. I know there was another RVA.JS on Angular, so I'm not going to dive deep into Angular, just enough to kind of get your feet wet and allow you to build it. So, let's see. First, just a little bit about me. I'm an engineering lead at CapTech's Digital Solutions Group. We do consulting. I'll do a quick slide here on us. We're mainly for Fortune 500 companies. We're about 400 people now. We're definitely hiring. So you're going to talk to me after, or there's some other CapTech groups as well. So what are the goals for this workshop, at least from where I'm coming from? I want to go over the basics with real patterns. A lot of these go over kind of the super basic stuff, and you get into these situations where you never use this, or you never use it this way. So I wanted to go over some stuff that you'd actually use day to day. I wanted to use a real API. It just seems to me like using a real API makes it more fun. And of course, it doesn't suck. It's a good one. So what API are we going to use? Well, so I was thinking, and Marvel actually just released their API, I guess, a month or two ago. And I can show you guys. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's actually really cool. All the comics, all their characters, all their stories are now accessible through this public API. And it gives you, JSON response. And it's free. So it's really cool. The one bummer about it is you have to sign up and you have to get a key and you have to kind of jump through some hoops with some hashing and stuff to actually call the API. So I figured we didn't want to do that, that would suck tonight. So I actually built my own API, which uses data from the Marvel API that you can call for free without having to worry about the key or anything. So I put this up when we go to build on the projector so you can have it, but the URL is this, it's on Heroku. And I can show you what it looks like. So just /API/characters is going to give you a character summary list. And then you can do a /ID and get a character detail. So how does this work? This is the app we're going to build. I'll go ahead and show you. It basically gives you 16 or so characters, showing a list here, and then if you click on one, you get their detail page. Then on the detail page, you can get the number of comics they're in, the series, the stories, and then links to Marvel pages. This is all from the Marvel API. It's really cool. So that's it. Character list, really simple, but it covers a lot of the Angular concepts, and then there's a lot of room to add on to this at the end if you have some extra time. I do have the code up on GitHub if you want to grab that, and if you want to start with my code, that's fine too. I'd recommend just trying to build it yourself first, but my code is up there if you want to reference it. And then just the docs.angular.js is a great site. Their getting started guide is really good if you don't look at that. And then just some extension ideas for the end we can talk about. So moving in, just some basic Angular stuff. app.js is kind of your top level bootstrap module. Use that with ng-app in your markup to bootstrap the application. And it's a common place to configure your routes, which are your kind of URL patterns for your app. You notice on my app it was characters for the list, and then characters /ID for the ID for the routes. Angular provides this built-in route component, and that is again going to watch the URL and try to match a route, and then you provide the template and the controller. I'm going to go through these pretty quick. It's not important to absorb all this right now. It's a lot easier to kind of wrap your head around when you build it. So definitely, I would advise just jumping in, and if you have questions, we'll be able to help. Modules, pretty much everything in Angular is a module, and it's just another way to keep your code organized. And instead of having like a big main method where Angular bootstraps everything up at once, you can declare it with bootstrap with modules and it's the effect. So DI is one of the coolest features of Angular. It basically says you have these modules and you have these services that you define, and then as you need them, you just basically pass them to your functions, and Angular will go get it for you. And it's a great way to keep stuff clean, and not have stuff laying around in memory and that sort of stuff. It's really cool. Scopes is a big one. So Angular heavily uses parent and child scopes. These are kind of how they decouple the controllers from the views. So controllers don't know about views, which is great because it makes them testable and clean and that sort of thing. So the way you communicate with your view is to add or remove stuff from the scope. And you'll see that used pretty heavily in that. Directives is the big thing you hear about with Angular. These are basically just ways you can attach behavior to your DOM, right? To your elements in your DOM. You can get by completely using the built-in directives. You don't need to create custom directives, but you can, and that's actually one of the most powerful things you can do with Angular is create custom directives. You won't need to do that for anything tonight. Services are just another way to kind of encapsulate code to make it reusable and testable and that sort of thing. One of the great things about Angular is it's very heavily unit testable. I don't really go into that at all tonight, but it is definitely a plus to be unit testable. Generally, you want to wrap your AJAX calls to APIs and services, and that's kind of the pattern I used in the app. You can see that. HTTP is the kind of jQuery AJAX equivalent to Angular. It's what they provide to talk to remote servers. It uses the queue objects, deferred promise APIs, and then I put resource on there because resource is kind of a higher level abstraction around HTTP. You kind of use either or. So if you use resource, you don't have a success in it. You don't have a get with the URL, right? You're just calling save. It's more like a facto site model. I don't think it's that great. I like to use just HTTP. It gives you a better idea of what's actually going on. And like a lot of the times, you're calling APIs that you don't really have control over. So being able to kind of massage the data from HTTP is nice. And then controllers, of course, these are actually a lot more lightweight than in a lot of other frameworks. You really shouldn't do a lot of stuff in your Angular controllers. They should be pretty bare bones. Basically, putting stuff in the scope and then setting the initial state and then responding to stuff in the view is basically what controllers do. So that's all I had. I'm sure you guys have some questions, but I'm just going to leave this up here. I will say the easiest way to get started, if you want to clone my repo, is github.com/Matthew Kesler/character list, and then you can download a zip button right here on the bottom, and that will get you the code, and all you need to run it is some sort of Apache server. So I use MAMP. James was mentioning you can use a Python server that he can help you with. I'm not sure how to do that, but with MAMP, you basically run it as an app, and then you point it to where your root folder is. So wherever your indexing is, and then that's it. You hit it in the browser at localhost and the port, and it should work. So you don't have to use MAMP. Use whatever HTTP server you want, but that should be all you need to run the GitHub code.
Are your slides online too?
My slides are online. Yes, it is. Let me add it real quick.
You want us to run a server with the Python has a argument -m. You can just say Python-m, simple HTTP server, it'll automatically fire up a run port 8000. If you don't know that, just talk to me. That way you don't even have to install anything at all. Most computers come with Python too. So.
All right, so threw the slides up if you want to review those. And that's it. I encourage you guys to group up if you want to, or you can go on your own. But if you want to group, I guess just raise your hand and find some people. We have all this space back here, you know what I'm saying, around the corner. And just find a spot, and I'll be available. James will be available to help.
So we can use this office here for some people to group up in here. We have sofas in the back there. We have back area back there. There's a conference room you can go in. We're going to rearrange the space a little bit, but we'll figure it out as we go. So.
Yeah, like stretch goals.
So the stretch goals I put down here. Obviously, the big one is use the full API, right? Don't use my little API. All you have to do is sign up on the website, and they'll give you a key. And then for every call you make to the API, you have to do the MD5 hash of your key to make sure everything's true, and then it should work. That's a stretch goal. There's a stretch goal. I think a good one would be Angular has a great concept of two-way binding, which we don't actually cover in this, but it's really easy in Angular to do filtering, so list filtering. So one of the stretch goals would be to add a filter, like text input here, and then as you type, it would filter this list to whatever you're typing. And that's actually really easy to do in Angular, so that's a good one. And then if you really want to get your hands dirty, you can write a custom directive to do pretty much anything. So
I think the filter one probably did first.
the filter one would be really good. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you.
All right. Yeah, and I'll be around. So any questions?
I think we're going to clear away this area too, right, at the table.
So, well, we'll bring up a couple of tables up here.
Okay.
So, you can wait for that, or you can head back and find a table. Find one of the tables that's already back there. Time to rearrange.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can ask me, Matt, or Tim, if you are questions about getting the code or even about Angular itself.
awesome collaboration going on here tonight.
So you'll notice the color it's not. So it's actually just this has all I did is just like what this does. So that's kind of cool. Regardless, I got yeah, just basically it's so go up to the top.
You working hard? You working hard? Good.
Reading comics.
Right. They actually have a rooftop patio upstairs. We're going to take it upstairs after this.
Oh, yeah?
Now you're married and have a family?
Yeah.
Right.
Surface is almost like gotta go get green grass. That's right. So if you use a surface, and what I did is I just you'll find that there's a control in it, probably in this. The band has to make some not get in here. I don't know what's doing that. And I just took this repo and made a copy.
They're late, whoever it is.
Yeah, you got a meeting, Yep, there you go.